If your course, programme, membership, workshop or service isn't selling, it's very easy to assume that the offer itself is the problem. Perhaps nobody wants it. You chose the wrong format, you need to lower the price, add more to it, or simply scrap the whole thing and create something new. But before you do any of that, it's worth looking for the gap. An offer can contain genuinely useful expertise and still be difficult to sell. Not because the idea is wrong, but because there's a gap between what you've created and what your audience needs to see, understand, or believe before they're ready to buy. In this video, I'm going to take you through 5 of the most common gaps I see, so you can work out what might needs fixing before you start again. Gap 1, your audience. The first gap is between your offer and the person you're trying to sell it to. You might know broadly who you help. Perhaps it's coaches, small business owners, parents, or people who want to improve their health. But that doesn't necessarily tell you who this particular offer is for or what is happening in their life when they need it. For example, a course for coaches who want to grow their business is very broad. Is it for a new coach who hasn't sold anything yet? An established coach whose one-to-one work is full? Or is it for someone who has created a course but can't get people to buy it? They might all be coaches, but they are in very different situations and will be looking for different types of help. You don't have to squash yourself into an incredibly narrow, but you do need to understand the person and this situation this particular offer is designed for. If people don't recognise that that offer is for them, they're unlikely to spend long enough looking at it to discover how helpful it could be. Gap 2, the problem. The second gap is the problem you are solving. Sometimes we create an offer around something we know would be useful without connecting it clearly enough to a problem our audience recognises, not you, them. You might know that your client needs to improve their positioning, simplify their funnel, or regulate their nervous system. But are they waking up thinking, I really need to improve my nervous system today? Possibly not. They might be thinking, why am I knackered? I don't know what I'm doing. Why do I keep forgetting things? Everything feels more complicated than it should. It doesn't mean, though, that you should only solve urgent emergencies or exaggerate the problem or prod the problem. But what you need to do is connect your expertise to something that feels specific in their life so they connect with it. If the problem feels vague, optional, disconnected from where they are and what they are experiencing, buying that offer will slip down the list. Gap 3, the promise. The third gap is the promise. Can somebody quickly understand what will be different as a result of buying your offer? This isn't about making enormous promises or guaranteeing a particular result. It's about making the value of the offer easier to understand. A promise such as step into your potential could mean almost anything. A clearer promise might be helping someone choose and shape one offer they can confidently take to market. That gives them a much better idea of what they are buying and why it matters. This is also where we can become too focused on what's included. The features, 6 modules, 12 videos, a workbook, private podcast and a community might describe what someone receives, but it doesn't explain what actually that will help them to achieve. Your audience shouldn't have to study your sales page and assemble the value for themselves. The journey from where they are now to where your offer helps them needs to be easy to see. Gap 4, the design. The fourth gap is how the offer has been designed. You could be solving the right problem for the right person and still have a mismatch between the result you're promising and the way you are delivering it. Perhaps the person needs feedback, but the offer is completely self-paced. Perhaps they're exhausted and you're offering 94 pages of a PDF. Perhaps they want a quick practical answer, but the offer requires them to complete 8 weeks of content. Or perhaps you've built a highly supportive program when your audience would prefer an affordable workshop they can use to solve one immediate problem. The same expertise can often be delivered as a course, a workshop, a program, a membership, or a service, but those formats aren't interchangeable. The right decision depends on what somebody needs it to do, how much support they require, how quickly they want the results, and how much time and capacity you have to deliver it. Adding more content isn't always the answer. Sometimes an offer becomes more valuable when the route through it is simpler. Gap 5. The sales route. The final gap might not be inside the offer at all. It might be the route people are taking or not taking towards it. Are enough of the right people seeing the offer? Do they understand why it is relevant to them? Have you helped them see the problem and the possibility before asking them to buy? And perhaps most importantly, are you actually inviting them to buy it often enough? We can spend months refining an offer that has only been mentioned a handful of times. Or we can rely on social media posts to sell something that would be much easier to sell through a conversation, a masterclass, an email sequence, or a simple launch. Different offers need different sales routes. A £27 workshop can be a relatively quick decision. A higher price program involves several months of somebody's time, so that's going to need more trust, more information, and more consideration on their behalf. If people aren't seeing, understanding, or being invited into the offer, changing the modules probably won't solve the problem. What to do before you scrap your offer. So if your offer isn't selling, don't immediately assume you need a completely new one. Look at these 5 areas. 1. Who is this particular offer for? 2. Does it solve a problem they recognise and care about? 3. Is the outcome or income easy to understand? 4. I was thinking of numbers then. Does the design suit the result and the person? And 5. Is there a realistic, clear route through which people can discover and buy it? You might find the offer is really sound, but there's one gap making everything around it feel harder than it needs to. If you'd like some help finding the gap in your own offer, I'm running a live masterclass called The Hidden Gaps in Your Offer on Tuesday the 15th of September, and it will be available on replay, so if you're watching after that, you can actually still access it. But we'll be looking at what might get in the way of your offer selling and help you identify where you can focus without automatically creating something new or rebuilding from scratch. I'll pop the link in the description below. And if this video was helpful, please do subscribe to the channel, because every week I share practical ways to turn your expertise and your love into something that is easier to buy and to help you build a simpler, more sustainable, more sellable business. Have a fantastic day.